Guys, today's video is going to be all about responsible fish keeping. Recently I saw a video on YouTube of a guy housing a largemouth bass along with a channel catfish and a clown knife fish, a featherfin, all in what he called a 45-gallon aquarium. To me it looked like a 29-gallon aquarium. I have one identical to it. Mine's only 29, but nevertheless 29, 45, even 55. It's not big enough for a single largemouth bass, let alone a channel cat and a knife fish. Anyhow, I wasn't trying to hate on him. I was trying to educate, and was informing him how it's basically cruel to the fish and they're not going to thrive and eventually die, slow, painful, miserable death, even for a fish. And he's like, well, if you think you can do any better, make a video. So, challenge accepted, pal. I'm going to show you guys the right way to house a bass, which you should never try to keep a bass as a pet, strictly as a pet. They are wild animals, but in some situations you can buy them from breeders. And I don't recommend catching one yourself because in my area, I live in Kentucky, minimum size limit is 12 inches. It takes a long time for them to get to 12 inches in Kentucky. I don't want to take that genetics out of the pool, take a chance on ruining a future fishing trip just because I wanted a pet. And, regardless of all that, nobody knows everything. Like I was saying, nobody knows everything. What makes you a decent human being is when somebody calls you out on something, you have the ability to admit that you didn't know what you were talking about. You don't double down and just assume that you know it all. Someone without the ability to learn, without the willing to learn something new, to me it just smells of ignorance. Anyhow, that's what today's video is about. I'm friends with a lady who used to own a pay lake. Now she's basically turned it into just a giant pond. She's kind enough to give me the opportunity just to stock it with anything I want to, fish it anytime I want to, basically give me full run of it. As long as any fish I catch I turn loose, which that's fine, because she does have things in it like koi. People's been known to catch those on accident. Check out Troublesome Creek today, guys. Just look at that clear water. I'm itching to go fishing, but I want to make this video more. He accused me of misinforming his viewers. This little dude, he lives in Michigan. The minimum size limit to keep a largemouth bass in Michigan is 14 inches. Not only that, there's a season on bass in Michigan. If you are keeping a bass outside the season, you're technically breaking the law. If you're keeping a bass that is under 14 inches, you're technically breaking the law. So who was misinforming his viewers, guys? Me or him? Anyhow, today's video is all about just that, the responsible fish keeping aspect of it. I don't really recommend that you ever try to keep a pet largemouth bass unless you have the proper setup for it. If you want to see the proper setup for it, go to Catch 'em All Fishing's channel. He's got a big above ground pool. This guy really knows what he's doing. Lake Fork guy, he knows what he's doing. Paul Cafaro, little dude, really knows what he's doing. He's got massive ponds. These are the YouTubers you want to follow if you want to get this information, guys. Don't just trust anything anybody says on the internet, me or anyone else. Without further ado, here we go to this guy's house. He's got a small largemouth bass he got from an independent supplier, along with a small bluegill. This guy didn't really know what he was doing was wrong either, but after talking to him, and he allowed himself to be educated. That's what I loved about the little guy. Now me and him are pretty much best friends. But we're going to be picking these fish up, taking them to my friend's old pay lake, which is now just a pond, releasing them there where they can be fish. They don't have to live in an all glass aquarium anymore and just basically swim from one side to the other going crazy all the time. Here we go. I saved these from a guy who was keeping them in an all glass aquarium. What I've done is I've come to the pond here. You guys like this pond? You think it's possible it's the biggest pond on YouTube? It used to be a pay lake once upon a time. We're going to release these guys in this pond here. There is a couple of predatory fish in here, but nothing big enough that they can swallow these guys. So they'll have time to grow and flourish and reach their full potential. And this water's already been acclimated, guys. And there they go. Both underneath the pipe there. Nice and out of everything's way until they get used to it. Walk you around the pond here. There are some giant koi in here. I didn't put the koi in here, not sure who did. I've put quite a few fish in here over the years, but this place belongs to a friend of mine, and ever since she shut down the pay lake, she's not really let many people fish it. She allows me to fish it, but I don't like to fish it a whole lot because it's sort of like shooting a deer as you're feeding them right out of the deer stand. Just doesn't really seem fair. These guys are used to getting fed. Is that a turtle? Maybe not. These guys are used to getting fed at a certain time every day, and you can burn them up if you come up here around that time. That's not really fair though. It's a beautiful spot. But this is the real way you should keep native fish. To take a bass or any native fish, stick it into an all glass aquarium, and I don't care if it's 25, 35, 45, 105, whatever. That bass is not going to be able to reach its full potential. It's not going to be anywhere near happy. You should really think about things before you take them out of nature. It takes a lot of effort and energy to keep native fish alive in a home aquarium. If you absolutely insist on doing it, I recommend you get nothing less than a 100-gallon aquarium. Even that's not really fair. But if you're going to do it anyhow, please at least get a 100-gallon aquarium. That way your bass at least has enough room to turn around. And you can talk to anybody on YouTube that keeps bass as pets. They'll tell you it's not something to be taken lightheartedly. It's crazy the amount of time, effort, money, cost, upkeep that it takes to ensure that that fish has a decent life. And even if you do your best, sink every dime you've ever made into it, that fish is going to have a better life in a situation like this, or just released soon after you catch it. But that's the end of the video today, guys. Please like and subscribe, turn on your notifications. We're going to be having a lot more videos coming through this summer, planning catfishing trips. Thanks and stay tuned.